So to be very clear, yes, succession is often going to mean that someone has passed on, now their assets are passing to the next generation. Um, and often with that comes inheritance tax. So a lot of people think that succession planning is inheritance tax planning. It's not. Inheritance tax is one element of succession planning. When you look at a business in particular, uh, it may not be that the business is going to be passed on to the next generation or passed on to the next person because the business owner has died. Very often it's going to be because the business owner wants to retire, because the business owner has sold their business. They're still very much alive, but there's business succession. The business is passing from one key business owner to another key business owner. Um, so death is important to plan for. Death is important to plan for. Inheritance tax is important. However, it's very, very important to have safeguards in place because if somebody has an illness, if you have a heart attack, if you have a stroke while you're running a business, while you're responsible for running a business every day, that business needs to have safeguards in place that enables that business to continue to function in your absence. This is incredibly important for small businesses. Um, I personally have worked with a lettings agent, very, very stable business. They have lots of property owners where they have investment property. The lettings agent manages the tenants, manages the properties on behalf of the property owners. Money comes in, rent comes into the business every month, and then they pay out to their landlords once at the end of the month when rent is due. When that business owner was suffered an injury, which left him in hospital, left him in a coma, there was nobody else in that business who was able to access bank accounts. There was nobody else in that business who was able to step in and do the day-to-day things that just keep that business ticking over. So what was a very stable business that had monthly revenue coming in, made a clear profit every single month, was thrown completely into disarray. Now imagine the rent comes in, but the landlord can't be paid. How quickly do you think the landlords move on to another lettings agency? Very, very, very quickly. So that business can disappear very, very quickly if the right safeguards aren't in place to allow people within that business to step in and continue the running of the business. So it's incredibly important for every business to have the right safeguards in place so that the business can continue to function if something happens to the business owner. We help business owners to build plans for that eventuality. Now, in reality, it may be that your lawyer needs to put something in place, and it may be that your financial advisor needs to put something in place, and it may be that you need to have internal systems in place. And all of these things come together into one succession plan for that business. If you are a key person in the business, has the business got key man insurance to make sure that if something happens to you, the funds are available to allow the business to replace you? If you're a key decision maker in a business, you have access to the bank account, you're the person who's signing off contracts. Do you have a lasting power of attorney in place that enables someone to step in and assume your position and make decisions on your behalf that are within your best interests? Without these key things in place, the business is really, really going to suffer if something happens to a key person.